Hey everybody, it's your buddy's pal Anthony. Today we're going to finally start tackling some of the comics I've read during the writer and actor strike over the past couple of months. We're going to kick things off with Nightwing. We're going to start with issue number 78, which is the beginning of Tom Taylor's current run. We're going to go Nightwing 78 up through Nightwing number 97. We're going to skip a couple of issues along the way, like the Nightwing Annual, as well as Nightwing issue numbers 84 through 86, because those are Fear State tie-ins, and while I read them and they were enjoyable, they were still written by Tom Taylor, they didn't really advance the main Nightwing story that we'll talk about now. We're going to stick to the main story, which occurs and deals with the events happening in Nightwing's chosen city of Bloodhaven. I'm going to give you a little bit of backstory as to where we find Nightwing after the intro, and after that, it's going to be spoilers for everything. So pause it, read it on your own if you need to. Otherwise, after the intro, we're getting right into it. Steve, roll that intro, please. Thank you, Steve. All right, so a little bit of backstory here. Back in Batman number 55, Nightwing was actually shot in the head by KG Beast. This led to a run where Nightwing had lost his memory because of the brain trauma, and he didn't remember being Nightwing, Dick Grayson, or any of that. He was actually starting to call himself Rick Grayson through this entire run, and he was distancing himself from Batman and the Bat family. Alfred actually enjoyed this because you find out later that Alfred was secretly happy because even though he missed him, he was happy that he was getting away from the masks, away from the night, and all that other sort of shit. So secretly, Alfred was like, "Okay, good, go, fresh, clean slate. You're not hurt. You're not haunted by the death of your parents. You're not hurt because you can't help. You don't remember these people. You don't remember the life you led. So you're not like hurting from the fact that you don't have the skills to help them anymore. You're free, you're clear, go live your life." That was Alfred's thought. Of course, Bruce has a hard time letting go. He tried everything in the book to kind of shock him back into being Nightwing. He took him down to the cave thinking that seeing all that stuff would make him remember. It didn't work, and now you just had a basically civilian who knew all your deep, dark secrets. So that was going on for probably way longer than it should have. And then in the Batman title, Alfred at one point, he's killed, and it seems like it's going to stick. He hasn't been brought back, at least not permanently. I think he was temporarily brought back, but I'm not sure the details about that. So Alfred's gone, and eventually, after I believe it's called the Joker War, where it seems the Joker remembers who Bruce Wayne is, who Batman really is. I know, right? Secret identity is his main thing, and he protects it so well, but for his arch enemy to know it, I know. Anyway, Joker actually at one point convinces Rick, who has kind of taken up being Nightwing again, although in a different, much more homemade costume, convinces him that he was actually his sidekick the whole time, and he does this through the use of some magical inket, and it's the same little trinket that also ultimately gives Nightwing back his memories. And they beat Joker. Bruce is left without his fortune for the umpteenth time. Nightwing eventually decides to go back to Bloodhaven. Rick, I should say, not Nightwing. Rick had been seeing somebody named B, and he still remembers his feelings for her. It's all just, I guess when he gets his memories back, it's all just a little bit cloudy because he's like, oh, I'm Richard Grayson, I'm Dick Grayson, but this Rick guy, do I still feel what he feels and things like that. KG Beast actually comes to Nightwing to Bloodhaven to settle the score because everybody heard that he missed and Nightwing survived, and that hurt his reputation. So KG Beast is out to finish the score. So Nightwing and KG Beast have a throwdown, and B's actually caught in the middle. Nightwing naturally prevails, and he does a classic superhero thing where he's like looking at B and looking at all the damage he caused to her life. So he decides to say that even though in his head, in his internal monologue, we hear him saying, he does remember, he does love her. He tells her, he's like, look, that was a different guy. I don't remember. I don't have those feelings for you. I'm sorry. So he does a classic superhero thing of, oh, my life is too dangerous. The ones I love are always going to be in danger, blah, 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 and whatever. Okay, so That's all that. And now this takes us into Nightwing 78 with Tom Taylor's run. And I really have to say, this run, 78 through 97, it's a lot of fun. We have a lot of established friends coming back to visit Nightwing throughout the entire run. It's nice to show the difference between him and Bruce because, yeah, Bruce can collect these people. He takes in all these kids. He's able to make, like, Superman and Wonder Woman that likes them. He can make them work together. But with Nightwing, it's different. He's friends with everybody. Everybody wants to work with him. Everybody thinks he's, like the cool older brother, and he's fun. And it's just really cool to see him interacting with all these people. It's nice to see all these people just like popping in and out of the book, and it's not really that big of a deal. For the main part, it's Dick Grayson. Barbara Gordon is the love interest on this run, which is really great. And they've adopted a dog, Haley, which actually Nightwing saves from just a bunch of assholes out in Bloodhaven who wanted to kill the dog for fun. So he takes the dog in, and Barbara's there when he gets back to his apartment to deliver something. And it's actually funny because right from the get, I like the way they kind of bust Nightwing's chops, because at one point Tim Drake will show up too, and Barbara's still there, and she's like, "Oh yeah, this is the dog that he thinks he's giving back to the shelter or something," and they're all like, "Yeah, okay." The minute the dog came, this was your dog. It's cool to see Nightwing just building something for himself, because he's also always been portrayed as like the wanderer, the guy who's very Spartan in his existence. He has a duffel bag and he can go from town to town. They actually even say that in the Grant Morrison run. So it's nice that he's evolving as a character. I like that. It's good evolution. It's not, devolving like some of the other characters we've talked about. As I said, when Nightwing gets back to his apartment with the dog, Barbara's there waiting for him, and she's waiting for him because she's actually bringing the last will, more or less, of Alfred Pennyworth to him. It turns out that Alfred, through all his years of service as, Bruce Wayne's butler, he amassed a huge amount of wealth, which he never really had to spend his own money because he lived with Bruce. Bruce picked up the tab for everything, but Alfred was getting paid handsomely. He was getting stock options from Wayne Enterprises. And it turns out he has a very sizable bank account. He left all this, it turns out, to Dick Grayson. And he does this because basically he likes that Dick has the guts to be a hero when he's not in the mask, and he's trying to change the world for a better place, as we see through some flashbacks. Dick defended a helpless kid from some bullies at the prep school he was sent to. And, he's actually apologizing for it later on when he gets home and he's talking to Alfred. And Alfred's like, no. It's a different type of man who can be a hero without a mask, so I'm proud of you for that. And that's why Alfred gave this money to Dick instead of Bruce, because I'm sure he probably felt that Bruce would have just built another tank or, 1,000 more batarangs or whatever it is. Ultimately, it's Alfred and his inheritance that he leaves to Dick that sets up the main story for this run, because eventually Dick realizes what he has to do with this money. He sees some homeless kids living in their own little encampment and how the city's neglected them. The city's falling apart. Instead of just building, a Nightwing cave or whatever it would be called, he decides he's going to take that money and he's going to build something to benefit the people of Bloodhaven. He's going to build something that ultimately is called Haven. He sets up a foundation to, try to help people, job placements, place to live, food, things of that nature. And naturally, this rubs Blockbuster, the main villain of this run, the wrong way. There is a second villain called Heartless. We'll get into him in a little bit. But really, it's, again, Nightwing versus Blockbuster is the main fight we'll see through this arc. And it's really cool because, again, the artwork is really great. I love how they show Dick in motion, because he is an aerialist. He is a performer. So it's just cool to see him moving through the panels and how they convey that sense of motion. I really love his interactions with Barbara, with Tim Drake, even with Haley. Bruce makes an appearance. We have John Kent Superman. It shows that, Nightwing has these actual friendships and relationships with everybody. People are coming to see him after he's gotten injured. People are coming to support him in this new endeavor that he's trying to do. And it's nice because he's actually welcoming that help. It's not Batman or Bruce where he's like, I'm just going to go to the study and work on something. And, it turns out he built like a robot to take himself out in case he's ever committed a murder or something like that, something crazy. Or it's not him, building the OMAC machine and Brother Eye to watch over the superheroes, and then it gets corrupted, and then, blah, blah, blah. So it's just a nice, it's a good take on the character. It really is in the spirit of Nightwing to see him try to do this beyond just punching out some bad guys. He still does that. The action in this story is still great. There's some funny moments, there's some serious dark moments, but all in all, this is just a lot of fun, and it was really a nice palate cleanser because, like I said, the last main DC continuity book I read, that Batman storyline, just really did not do it for me. So, again, very nice change of pace, very great run by Mr. Tom Taylor. The backup villain, like I mentioned, he's called Heartless, and he's a guy who literally lives up to his name. He goes around and he has a machine that steals the hearts out of people. So that's a sub story for this chunk of the book. I believe in Nightwing number 100, and in the second Nightwing annual, we're going to get more into Heartless, and we're going to find out who he is and what his motivations really are. But for right now, he's just kind of like a sub guy, and actually at one point he goes to Blockbuster because he's like, well, I want Nightwing, I want Nightwing's heart. Blockbuster isn't really having any of that. He doesn't like that Heartless just showed up in his place, and we actually think that Blockbuster's killed him for a split second, but he was just off licking his wounds. This run isn't perfect. Towards the end, there was something that happened that I don't like, which is the same thing that I hated about Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire, and that is Nightwing's mask comes off. In the final battle between Nightwing and Blockbuster at Haven, with Haven burning down all around them, Blockbuster has two kids literally in the palm of his hand, and he's going to crush their skulls if Nightwing doesn't lay down flat on the ground and, just let him do what he wants to him. And Blockbuster hits Nightwing so hard that it causes his mask to fly off, and then Nightwing is there revealed to be none other than Dick Grayson, and Blockbuster, does the usual bad guy thing. He's going to make all of his loved ones suffer, and this and that, and these and those. So it's just like, I don't know. I just feel like all the technology we believe that they can cram into their masks and their cowls, you can't tell me that they don't have something that'll just make the damn thing stay on no matter what you get hit with. I don't know. Ultimately, Nightwing rallies and he's able to beat Blockbuster back. And actually, it's kind of funny because, again, a difference between, well, maybe Bruce would have done this, but I don't know. The Bruce I've been reading lately, I feel like he's just going to try to beat you with his fists instead of, using his brain. Barbara actually reveals to some of Blockbuster's henchmen that it turns out Blockbuster was behind the Bloodhaven private prison that everybody hates because it's just like so terrible and so dilapidated. Even the henchmen and the villains, they're disgusted by it. So Blockbuster gets kicked out the window by Nightwing. He goes running to his car. He calls for his henchman to start it up, and the henchman's like, "Nah, you're the one responsible for that prison. Friends of mine died there. I hated it there. I was the worst I've ever treated." So his henchmen leave him. Blockbuster goes on the run, and he still has this knowledge of obviously who Nightwing really is, and you think that's going to be a big part of the next part of the story, but actually it's really not, because at the end of this issue, as Blockbuster's running through an alley, we find out that Heartless is there waiting for him, because miraculously he's tracked him down, as all evil people in DC Comics can, and all villains can. Heartless tracks him down, stops him, and with some upgraded tech, he rips out Blockbuster's massive heart. Blockbuster is down, and that is the end of the first part of the Tom Taylor story. Nightwing number 97, which I said this goes up to, that's more of the fallout of the death of Blockbuster and Nightwing and his allies cleaning out all the corruption in Bloodhaven. He's brought in, throughout the course of the story, Nightwing's managed to bring in Maggie Sawyer and other Dan Turpin, who I only know from the Superman animated series, so cool. He brings them in as new police commissioner, and her assistant, Turpin, start to right the city. Batgirl and Nightwing in this issue, they have to get Boss Maroni out of Bloodhaven alive. They stash him away for a few days. And the end of this issue is kind of an abrupt jump into the next Nightwing story, where we're going to see more Teen Titans coming in, and it's moving away from cleaning up the corruption of Bloodhaven and things like that so far. I mean, not to say they won't come back to it, but the next couple of issues are a bit more epic in terms of, it deals with the entire Earth, not just Bloodhaven. The Titans are involved, there's supernatural elements, and we're going to get to all that in the next video. But just a couple other things that I didn't touch on that did occur in this, which some of them I'm happy about, some of them I'm not. Again, I really like the relationships with Nightwing and all the other heroes that we see. Something I wasn't too crazy about, but it's grown on me, is actually it's revealed that Nightwing has a sister. So the mayor of Bloodhaven is a Zuko, and she, at one point, Nightwing, of course, hears the name, and he knows who Zuko is, the man who murdered his parents. He goes to confront her, fearing that she's just another corrupt official, and it turns out that not only is she an FBI informant trying to take down Blockbuster and everything that way, but she's been following Nightwing, excuse me. She's known for a while that she's Dick Grayson's sister, but she's never said anything because of all the guilt involved and things of that nature. It grew on me, and I don't hate it. I do hate the fact that the mask comes off so easily. That's just a weird pet peeve I have, I guess. But it's actually also cool because after the mask comes off and Nightwing regains consciousness, they start to talk for a minute, and then like he kind of has like a, oh shit, wait a minute, give me the mask, puts it on, and he calls off Oracle because she had hit the panic button, and we see that everybody under the sun was coming to Nightwing's last known location. So yeah, all in all, I'm going to give this run a 10 out of 10, even with the mask stuff. It was a lot of fun. There's a lot of cool moments I haven't even gone into. You guys can read it all for yourselves and let me know what you loved most about this, or if you hated it. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe this is actually the worst comic run of Nightwing ever, but I don't think I am. I think it's pretty damn good. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm Anthony the Ramblingnerd. Find me under Instagram at Ramblingnerd. I'm part of the Nerd Affiliated family on Instagram, nerdaffiliated.com to become a channel member. Pick up some cool merch. The holiday season is upon us. Show your loved ones you care about them by giving them the best nerd content around. Gift them a membership, gift them a hoodie, a mug, stickers. Let them know who your favorite podcast and YouTube shows are. That'll do it for me. Talk to you in the next video. Steve, let me out of here, please.